Let's proceed. Sugyah 19, Shiur 2, Samech Geula L'Tefillah. Okay, actually, yes, I want to start the same thing tonight, even more so now than we did before. I think it is very important that we we dedicate our learning and we actually say tefillah because it is a shas. It's very, very unusual times, gentlemen. It's an Eisar Yaakov, but the times are so. It just feels like Mashiach around the corner. Like, I don't know how to describe it. The world is becoming so polarized. Good and evil are cleaving into two camps. The whole world is like, it's either going to be the next World War III, or it's going to. But like, one thing for sure, things are spinning out of control faster. I've never seen this metamorphosis so quickly, and it's definitely. But Lamaisa, no matter how you slice it, we have many Jews are in grave straits because, first of all, we have the entire Tzahal, 360 reservists. I mean, we're talking a huge. They're going into Gaza, and that's a pachad yisera. But even not just that. By the way, in Eretz Yisrael itself, you have 2 million Arabs. 2 million. Now, I'm not. I'm a very liberal kind of guy, so I believe that only 10% might be radicals, but 10% means 200,000 or more in your midst, like Hashem Yirachim. It's a frightening. It's a very. I went to Newark today to take my son to the airport to go to Eretz Yisrael. So anyway, let's say this tefillah together.
And anti-Semitism in the U.S. is also getting
it's
crazy.
Wild, but it's anti-Zionism. Make no mistake.
No,
with Jews. In Cornell, they were Zionists. Make no mistake.
I'm in Los Angeles. I'm visiting Los Angeles now. In UCLA, they went for the campus, Royce Hall, and they said, "We want Jewish genocide." Their words were, "We want Jewish genocide."
Anti-Zionist has nothing to do with Jews. In Cornell,
why do they say we want Jewish genocide?
Brooklyn Bridge, you don't understand it. It's Zionism. It has nothing to do with Jews. When they were on the Brooklyn Bridge, 7,000 of them, they were talking about the Zionists, not anti-Semitism. It's only okay. Anyway, I hope you excuse my facetiousness. Do a much better job than we do at spinning tails. Okay, and now I didn't read this before, but let's quickly just add the brisa over here that this Gemara is based on. Tanya, the Mishnah starts with 3 shitas as to when is the last time you could say Kriya Shema. Either it's Chatzos, either it's Ashmura Rishona, or it's Chatzos, or it's the Boker. So the question is the Chachamim, who do they hold like? So the answer is Chachamim also sag the Divrehim. Really, the Chachamim hold that you can read it all night, but they did a siyag, so that a person doesn't come from his sada in the night, and he'll say, I'll go to my house, I'll eat a little bit of esh, eat a little bit, drink a little bit of esh, ishan kima, I'll sleep a little, after I do that, I'll read Kriya Shema v'espalel. Now you see the order over here? After that, I'll read Shema and I'll daven. But he won't actually do this. What'll happen is he'll eat a little bit, he'll drink a little bit, and he'll fall asleep, and he'll sleep the whole night. Therefore, Chazal said, latest you read Shema is Chatzos. So that why? So that Aval Adam, because what they wanted people to do is the following: Aval Adam bam in a son of Be'erev. A man comes from the field at night. Nichnas Beis HaKnesses. He goes into the shul. Im ragil likros Korah. If he's ragil to read, he reads. Im ragil lishnos shoneh. If he knows how to learn, he learns. V'kori kriya Shema mispalel. He reads Shema and davens. V'chapitul mevarach. Then he eats his bread and mevarach. And therefore, kol over divrei chamim chay misa. Whoever's over divrei chamim. Now, the reason why we brought this brisa was for this outside reason to explain the chachamim. But here's the order of events over here. The order of events. He comes from the sun at night, goes into basic Knesses. He reads Lashon Shoneh, the Korei Kriya Shema Umispalel. Twice the Brisa tells us that the order of events is he reads Shema and davens, reads Shema and davens. Amar says Korei Kriya Shema Umispalel, and the Sailor of Yochanan. This is the supporter of Yochanan. So this Brisa is the supporter of Yochanan. Okay, good. That why? Amar. Korei Kriya Shema Mispal, Messiah Rabbi Yochanan is the supporter of Yochanan, and Damar Rabbi Yochanan Eza ben Olam Haba, who is ben Olam Haba? There's some Gula Tefillah Shel Arvis. a person who's someone who puts the gula of tefillah, who puts the gula very close to the Shemona Esrei of Arvis. Rabbi Shimon Levi Omer tefillas be'emsa tiknum. Rabbi Shimon Levi says no, chas shalom, it's not true. You do not have to be somet gula tefillah at night. Rather, the Chazal put in the Shemona Esrei in the middle of Shema. Okay.
Really?
Yep.
No, sorry, I was just bothered by two things about this point. Can I ask a question? So the first thing was we asked the question, I think in the first year, and I think I even asked it, and it doesn't make sense to me how it was the question. Rabbi said it was, how come Rabbi Shub and Levi switching the order? But isn't that really what he's saying? Meaning you need to have the tefillos in between two shmas, so you have Shema, Shachar, Mincha, Ma'ariv, Shema. So if you do it the other way, then then that wouldn't make sense. So that's why he switches it.
Right, and the only question we have is G golly, why? Meaning, okay, great.
Why did they do tefillos tikno?
Meaning, Rabbi Shimon Levi can argue Rabbi Yochanan about being somewhat gula tefillah. Okay, good. So you hold you don't have to be somewhat gula tefillah. Good, but still you should say Shema first and Shemona Esrei after.
You're saying because of Zrizim Magdimin?
Because the Shema is a deraisa and Tfilas Arvis is a derabanan at most.
So I thought he was saying it's because Tfilas Tiknon means that I wanted to have a Shema in the morning and a Shema at night, or close to each other, whatever it is, and they had three things in the middle.
Yeah, I suspect he said that. He did say that. The question is Jigali, why? Meaning, again, the only thing that Rabbi Shua ben Levi and Rabbi Yochanan argue about is there an issue to be somet gula tefillah by Marav? So let's say Rabbi Yochanan argues there is no issue. So therefore, you could talk between Gal Yisrael and Shemona Esrei. You could make announcements. You could add tefillah, whatever you want to do. Good, but obviously you still say Shema and Shemona Esrei because one's a right, one's a derabanan.
So Karv L'Shkiva and Karv L'Shkiva is not a reason.
If you even at the second answer of drushas, maybe it's hard to understand those drushas, but certainly the Gemara's first answer is it's svara. According to the svara is what's the svara? There's a svara called either there is a gula at night or there isn't. Meaning the Gemara's svara is Rabbi Yochanan has a gula at night and therefore has a reason to be somewhat gula tefillah. Rabbi Shimon Levi doesn't have gula at night, therefore has no reason to be somewhat gula tefillah. Okay, good, but that's no reason why, according to Rabbi Shua, you should put Shemona Esrei before Shema. Shema's deraisa, davening's the derabanan. Obviously, keep the order.
No, of course it is because of B'shachbacha. You want it closer to be when you're going to sleep.
Again, the Gemara has two answers:
Svara
and drasha. Svara and drasha. If you hold svara, it means you don't have the drasha. The drasha hard to hear anyway. It's not a drasha anyway. It's a smachta at most.
It's a smachta, right? Okay.
Because it's the derabanan, right? All right. Anyway, but the point is, according to the svara side, there's no drasha. So explain to me any reason in the world why Rabbi Shua ben Levi should ignore a deraisa and do a derabanan first. Go ahead, tell me a reason. And tell me a reason why he doesn't hold the smicha gula tefillah. That's all the Gemara tells us.
Fine. Okay, so that's what so the way Rabbi just set up the machlokas is a little funny because then the raya doesn't, meaning the way I was learning the raya, it's not messiah. If the machlokas is really so much gula tefillah, then
Sure, seems what the Gemara learns it.
Right. So if that's the machlokas, then the messiah of the brisa is not such a strong messiah because they're not talking about gula tefillah.
All they're showing. Thank you. That's really question number 2. It's not a support to Rabbi Yochanan at all.
But that's what I thought Rashi was doing because Rashi explains it's not a support to Rabbi Yochanan. Rashi just says it's not like Rabbi Shua ben Levi.
The second element of that question is. Gemara says the support to Rabbi Yochanan. How's the support to Rabbi Yochanan? All you prove is that Shema comes first. Rabbi Yochanan's svara is smicha gula tefillah. You don't prove that at all. Why should Rabbi Shua argue? Meaning you didn't prove Rabbi Yochanan at all. Meaning maybe really you're not so much gula tefillah. But the reason why you do Shema first is because it's a deraisa and derabanan, and so you really that's the second. The flip side of the same question.
Why are we ignoring Rabbi Shua ben Levi's words? He says tefillah be'ensem tiknum. He obviously feels there's a reason to say Shemona Esrei between the Shmas.
Can I tell you why we are ignoring? Because I don't understand any reason for it. Tell me the reason. The Gemara didn't tell us.
I don't know what it is. There's some svara to do in the middle.
I don't know either, but the Gemara didn't share it with us. Wouldn't you want to know that? Wouldn't you be curious? I'm sure he had a reason. I would like to know what it is. I'm rightly curious. I would love to know what the reason is because I don't know a reason. If you know a reason, tell me the reason. The Gemara doesn't share with us a reason.
Well, the only thing that links to it is the drasha. The drasha would seem to be
but again, according to the Gemara, initially it's svara only.
Right.
But let's proceed. All right. Now, So again, so here we have Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Who's ben olam haba?" That's some gula tefillah shel arvis, meaning, and says Rabbi Yochanan, you got to do Shema and go right into Shemon Esrei because you have to be, because you have Gal Yisrael right after Shema, and you got to put Gal Yisrael right next to the Shemon Esrei because you have the some gula tefillah. Good. Says Rabbi Shimon Levi, no, tefillah be'emtza teknum, meaning rather it's this way. You do Shema, and then you do Shemon Esrei, Shemon Esrei, Shemon Esrei, and Shema. They put the tefillah in between two Shemas. Why they do it? I don't know why, but they did it. Okay, good. So question number one, interestingly enough, is Rabbi Shimon Levi said to two issues, someone go to order prayer. Meaning, okay, granted, Rabbi Shimon Levi, let's say you argue against someone gula tefillah. Why do you argue with the order of the prayers? Why do you put Shemon Esrei first? Shema should be first. All right, good. That's a question. Calling that question number one. Throwing down the gauntlet. Okay, that's question number one. Okay, but let's proceed. But this is
question number one the same thing as saying what's the svara of tefillah be'emtza teknum?
It's saying I don't. You could say it poorly that way, but in other words, apparently, okay, you want to say it if it makes you. In other words, there's no logic to it, is what I'm saying. And the Gemara doesn't offer a logic to it. The Gemara is bothered by what's the logic of Rabbi Yochanan. There's some gula tefillah. The answer is, let's say that you're Shalmi, you knock on the king's door. So what does Rabbi Shimon Levi answer to that? He answers, no, there's no gula really at night. Okay, shkayach, still. But why then do you put Shemona Esrei before Shema?
No, let's say svara X. So X. What's that? No, but it would be over with Rabbi Yochanan. It would be overridden if there was a reason to say semech tefillah, because even if whatever svara there is to be, we overridden. So he just has to knock that off, and then he goes to his default.
Okay, good. When you say what you say is svara X, I'm saying what is svara X?
Okay, good. We need to answer that. But I'm saying
Yeah. That doesn't make
sense. All he's saying is that whatever his svara is would be overwritten by Rabbi Yochanan if there was an iyun of gula tefillah.
Are you answering the question?
I'm just saying structure.
So good. I understand. If you're not answering the question, saying I don't have an answer. If you're answering questions, say I have an answer, but don't just say words and pretend like it answers the question when it doesn't address
I'm saying his goal is to explain why Rabbi Yochanan is not nogeya.
Okay, Binyan Pesach, you're right. I'm wrong. But if you have an answer, tell me it. But if you don't have an answer, don't tell me it. You're not a Palestinian. You can't just talk words.
I'm not talking words. I'm just saying whatever his svara is, it obviously wouldn't be enough to override Rabbi Yochanan's svara of gula l'tefillah if it applied.
Okay, all right.
So he has to override gula l'tefillah, and then comes in whatever the svara X is.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe it could be you're right. I have no idea what we're talking about, so it could be you're right, could be wrong. I wouldn't know because I don't know what Rabbi Shimon Levi is saying. I don't understand him. It could be your structure's right, could be your structure's wrong. But one thing for sure, I don't have a clue to what he's saying, so I can't weigh in an opinion. But let's proceed. Let's see if we can learn straight. All right, so let's see Rashi. Zeh somech, the kol shekein the shachris. Now, meaning says Rabbi Yochanan. Asamagula tefillah. I'm sorry, where's my line? Ezu ben olam haba. Gotta go all the way back here. Says Rabbi Yochanan, Ezu ben olam haba. Asamagula tefillah shel arvis. Mariv. That's a ben olam haba. Says Rashi, but kol shekein the shachris. Kal v'chomer shachris. Digagul Mitzrayim b'shachris. Digagul Mitzrayim is in shachris u'ksiv. Now, I'm not going to ask this as a question because Binyan Pesach is going to make a whole tumult. But I am rightly curious. I just want to say it as a curiosity point. I said it before, but I want to say it. I am rightly curious why Rashi cares to introduce the fact of chakras over here when it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't affect anything that we're talking about. And I don't like why he says it. I don't know. But okay. But
isn't he bothered by why didn't he say chakras? Why is he making a Kiddush of Ma'ariv, which seems to be the weakest of the three?
So what is the answer to that, by the way?
I mean, it sounds like he's saying the reason why he said Ma'ariv, I would have.
Question: why did Rabbi Yochanan say? Why didn't he say Shachris?
Because it's called Shekain Shachris if he would have said Ma'ariv.
Well, so who cares? Why is Rashi weighing in on that point? It's not relevant to our discussion. It may be true. A lot of things are true. There's a whole Shulchan Aruch that's true, but it's not relevant to our discussion. He said Ma'ariv. Now we explain to the logic to Ma'ariv, et cetera, why he. I don't want to make a big point of it, but I think if you think about it, you'll see it doesn't really seem to be
I
necessary.
mean, isn't that what he's doing with the next 4 lines too?
All right, let's see.
He's explaining how we know how Rabbi Yochanan knew Shachris even in order for him not to have to say that Chiddush.
Let's read on. Let's see. If I blundered, I blundered. Let's just read on. Ksiv machros the Pesach Yatsu b'nei Yisrael. Pasuk says the next morning the b'nei Yisrael left. The smichas gula tefillah rams. Okay, so far, so for some reason Rashi feels it's necessary to put in this kol shekain about Shachris. Now let me continue. Says Rashi, the smichas gula tefillah rams David sefer Tehillim. The smicha of gula tefillah David Melech was Rome's. He remez sefer Tehillim diksiv Hashem suri v'goali. Hashem is my rock and my salvation, Goel, Redeemer. And the Samach Lei, and close to that, the very next pasuk says, Yandcha Hashem b'yom tzara, Hashem will answer you in your day of tzara. Did anybody ever spend any time figuring out what Rashi is doing with this piece over here?
So that's what I thought he was doing here is he was showing us how Rabbi Yochanan knew, or we know Stam, that you're somech gula tefillah, and that's why it would for sure be by Shachris, is because we see David HaMelech did that right here, and that's meaning because Rashi's still bothered by like where's I'm saying Kol Shekain by Shachris, so he's saying what's the source of that? So he's saying this is the source.
Okay, let me say the following. It is my sincere belief that Rashi's job over here is to explain to us the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan made this wild statement, right? Rabbi Yochanan says, Mariv, you have to be some gula tefillah. And Rashi's job is to explain to us what Rabbi Yochanan says, right? Now Rashi says to us first, Kol Shekain v'Shachris. Again, you think it's relevant, I think it's not relevant. And then he mentions something about the fact David Melech had a smichas. Do we understand anything about this? I'm not even sure I would learn this as a smichas. I don't know what Yantcha B'Yam Shara is even. Yantcha, Hashem will answer you on your day of pain. I'm not sure it's a tefillah.
Tell when we say after Ashrei.
Yeah, but it's not a tefillah. It's like either a bracha or it's a bakash in general. It's not a tefillah. Yantcha Hashem b'yom tzara. Hashem should answer you in your day of tzara.
You don't say it on days of there's no tachon because it's supposed to be because we say Yantcha b'yom Hashem tzara.
And so that makes it a tefillah.
I hear a question.
Okay.
Maybe saying some gula tefillah is the default based on these things. That makes it the default. So unless you have a svara, otherwise that's what we're going to go to. You're saying I don't hold the Rishuv and Levi svara, so this is the way you go from Arab also.
One more time, Jake. Say again.
Maybe he's saying that based on these two things, so gula tefillah is kind of the default. That's the default position. And Rishuv and Levi's got a svara the other way. We're saying I don't hold that svara, so we go back to the default.
What do you mean default position? Because he's bringing.
We're saying that's just because we have it that way for Shachris, and because there's like a remnants to it in Tehillim. Because of that, that's the way we try to do things. If we're being Masader or something, we're Masader and something cool.
You're right. I'd be rightly curious how you know in Shachris you do it. How do you know you have to do some gula tefillah in Shachris? By the way, I don't see any. I don't know why you would. But let's proceed, because the next part of Rashi is really where the action starts, and understanding this at least helps us understand something, at least. Famrina b'brachas, Yerushalmi, Gemara brachas, Yerushalmi explains, Mi she'eno sama gula tefillah, l'mahu domet. One who's not sama gula tefillah, what is he comparable? La'ovo shel melech, a beloved person of the king. Sheba v'dafak al pesach shel melech, he goes and knocks on the door of the king. Yotza melech, the king comes out to greet him. Matzah shivlig. And when the king comes out, he finds his friend gone. Avu hiflig. So the king says, that guy left, I'm leaving. The king goes back to his palace. Ella, and rather don't do that. A person should bring Hashem close to him. And praise Hashem and appease Hashem with praises of Yisrael. And then God comes closer to you by doing that. And when Hashem is close to you, you should ask your requests. All right, what has Rashi done here?
Svara for some gula tefillah.
Yes, at least now this is a very good. I get the logic. Watch, the king's friend. He comes to the door, knocks. The king comes out. The friend's gone. King says, "You're gone. I'm gone." Don't do that. And the Gemara Yerushalmi says, don't do that. you knock on the door, praise Hashem, and once Hashem comes out to greet you, praise Hashem further with Kol Mitzim of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and now that Hashem comes even closer to you, make your requests. So this Gemara in Yerushalmi at least explains to me the logic. Baruch asked that question, right? I said, do we understand any logic of Smicha Gula Tefillah? Well, what's the logic of it? And now David HaMelech doesn't tell me any logic at all. Maybe it's a riot that there's such a mechanism. And this tells me the logic of why should you be Soma Gula Tefillah? Because it may, I don't even want to say the words, but I did this last Sugyah. I let the cat out of the bag. So, all right, whatever, good. Do this, meaning be Maratza Hashem, appease Hashem. Hashem comes out to greet you, and that's when you should right away say your tefillah.
Could Rashi be doing more because his different maskels also on the he's explaining why you're Ben Olam Haba? Meaning, right? It's a funny line. It's a weird thing to say. I mean, there's famous answers for it.
You're right. That's a very good question. And the Rishonim asked that, right? Ben Olam Haba. You mean all I got to do is do the Smicha Gula Tefillah and I go to Olam Haba? Great. Sounds like a ticket in. It sounds wonderful.
But isn't that his
ticket
point?
In, he says not ticket out. He doesn't say it's ticket in. He says he's not a Ben Olam if he doesn't.
Ben Olam Haba. Who's a Ben Olam Haba? If you do this, you're in Olam Haba. But I do nothing else. I just do this. I get Olam Haba. That's what it seems to me.
Isn't there like a famous idea about the Ben Olam Habas? Because then your tefillah, meaning like you like mechaper all your mechaper all your averos if your Hashem's miskarif to you. That's why he says Ben Olam Haba. This would make a lot of sense. I mean, that's good for what Rashi's saying here.
So again, all I have to do is praise Hashem and daven right away, and I go into
Yeah, I'm not. I know Tuesday's a day for the Shmuz, and I'm not trying to say a Shmuz, but I think what he's trying to what it is that if you're really miscarried,
watch this. I do every affair in the world. I have a shiksa girlfriend. I eat chazer, tray, right? But I do this little thing. I'm a Ben Olam Haba shkayach. It's a nice religion.
No, he's saying if you're miskarif to Hashem and you really do tefillah and you do slachwanu and you machaper your averos, then yes, you have the ability to be a Ben Olam Haba from doing that.
All right, Ayin Ritva. Look in the Ritva. Look in the Rash. But they're all troubled by this question. they're all troubled by it, and you'll see over there how they learn. Okay, good. But let's
add it to Rabbi Victor Miller's list, Rabbi.
Rabbi Victor Miller's list.
He always say if you do such and such, you don't have a chelik in Olam Haba. Everything is.
Okay, good. This gets you a chelik Olam Haba. What it means, you look in the Rishonim. But okay, all right. But so far so good. At least we have a logic now. We have something that makes sense. I now understand why someone would say you should be Soma Gula Tefillah, and apparently everybody agrees by Shachris. The question is by Mariv. Rabbi Yochanan says even by Mariv, and Rabbi Shmuel Levi says no, not by Mariv. By Shachris, yes, I agree there, but not by Mariv. Okay. Now,
could that be the reason for Rashi's Kolshkein? Meaning Kolshkein means even Rabbi Shmuel Levi will agree to that?
It could be. I don't know why he needs it here. Again, he's explaining this to Rabbi Yochanan. I don't understand why it's relevant, why we need to know it. It's a nice fact. Rashi has lots of things to teach us.
But I'm saying nobody argues about that. About Shachris, nobody argues. They're not arguing at the concept of Gula L'Tefillah. They agree with the concept of Smichas Gula L'Tefillah. The only thing is that everybody agrees it applies to Shachris. Only Rabbi Yochanan agrees it applies to Mariv.
All right, you're probably closer to Emes, but let's proceed for a moment. All right, so now at least we have a working understanding of Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan says you have to Soma Gula Tefillah because otherwise you're bringing the king out and you're interrupting. The king leaves. So don't do it. Right away, ask for your request. However, it says Rabbi Shmuel Levi, no. The tefillah is be'emsa teknuim. The tefillah is made in the middle. Ben shnei krishmas, between the two krishmas, tiknu kol tefillah shel yom, and the kasava tefillas arvis kodemus the krishma. Because he holds tefillas arvis comes before krishma. That's why. Because tefillas arvis comes. No, I mean Rashi means because he doesn't hold the Soma Gula tefillah, right? What's Rashi saying? The kasava tefillas arvis comes. That's not why. It's because he holds there's no issue of Soma Gula tefillah. Okay.
And then he also needs a reason to say why it should come afterwards, because even without Gula Tefillah, it should still come first.
Yeah, you're right. So if that was Rashi means, Rashi didn't help us at all. Because did Rashi tell us the reason?
Well, he's explaining what Emtzitikna means. That's all he's doing.
No, again, and then Sheikh taking called Tefillah Shel Yom, the Kasava, because Rabbi Shmuel Levi holds Tzilas Arvis Kodemas Krishma. Arvis comes before Shema.
Meaning Shema, the picture Rabbi gave. Shema, Shema Nesri, Shema Nesri, Shema Nesri, Shema. That's what Rashi's explaining.
So what did Rashi answer? What did Rashi help us understand?
What Emsa Tikna means.
Right. So if I were Rashi, I'd want to explain to you. However, if Shuman Levi holds, there's no iyun of Smichas Gula Tefillah. He doesn't address. That's the main point. The machlokas in Rabbi Yochanan and Shuman Levi is there Smichas Gula Tefillah or not? So Rashi skips that whole point, and this other point, which he doesn't help us at all understand, doesn't help us. He meant that because
Rashi knows what Svar X is.
So he doesn't
I don't know what it is, but Rashi knows.
Right, and he doesn't mention what the real machlokas is. Rashi fails to tell us really the machlokas is smucha gila tefillah. That Rashi skips, and then he mentions something that we know already and doesn't explain to us when it's not. Maybe.
Could you be medayik and Rashi here that he before he met Rabbi Yochanan and even heard of gula tefillah, he stam thought Shema Nesri came before Shema. The only tzad to switch it was gula tefillah, which he's not gores.
Maybe.
Does it sound like he's saying that? I mean, he's like, I stam held like that. You want to come and switch up my mahalach? No. I don't believe in gula tefillah by marriage.
I want to ask you a question. Rabbi Shubin Levi and Rabbi Yochanan argue about 1 point or 2 points.
2 points.
I think 1 point. It sounds like 1 point. Gula tefillah. Yeah.
We don't make double machlokas. They argue about 1 point. Now, the Bible that I read, the Talmud that I read, has them arguing about 1 point called, is there some gula tefillah? That's what they're arguing about. And then we have this curiosity that, and Rabbi Shubin Levi says, oh God, by the way, Shemona Esrei comes before Shema. Why? I don't know why. Don't tell you why. Rashi doesn't even mention
status quo, no? Rashi's saying status quo, meaning Rabbi Yochanan without gula, without
Shema first, Shema's a deraisa.
No, but I'm saying would Rabbi Yochanan hold if he didn't hold of gula tefillah? Sounds like Rabbi Yochanan would hold that Shemona Esrei comes first by marriage. That's what it sounds like from this Rashi.
Yes, but it's not true.
I didn't say it's true. I'm saying it's mashmos from Rashi. Is this the status quo?
Oh, maybe you can make any mashmos you want, but again, assuming that there's one machlokes in Rabbi Shubin Levi and Rabbi Yochanan, and that is whether you sum a gula tefillah or not. So if that's the machlokes, Rashi failed to mention the key point that Rabbi Shubin Levi doesn't hold the smichas gula tefillah. He mentioned something that's irrelevant. He just said over what the Gemara said, didn't help us understand anything. So I don't know what he did. Okay, but let's see. Everything's getting more and more muddy. The more I learn.
Might not have known what Pitul Be'emson Tiknu means without Rashi. We may not have known that means Shema, Shema Nesri, Shema Nesri, Shema.
Oh, the Gassava Tils Arvis Kodem Krishna. Tils Arvis comes before Shema.
Rabbi so explains us that means Shema, 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 Shema.
Can I ask a personal favor, Rabbi Rashi? Please explain to me why? Why? What do you mean he holds it? Why?
He's explaining what? He's explaining what?
What? Rashi's job on the page is to explain why. He's a Rishon. He's a Mefarish, Perush. Why is what I know what the Gemara said. The question is, why did it say it? And Rashi failed to tell me anything. Rashi said nothing. He filled up words on the page and accomplished nothing. All right, let's proceed. These are not major kashas.
Can I ask a question?
Please do, yes.
Just, I don't have an answer to this, and it may make it harder, but it seems to me that Yerushalmi, there's 2 parts to Smichas Gula Tefillah, and we may need to go through like exactly each part separately to figure it out. But one part is the order, and the other part is doing them adjacent to each other and close to each other. Okay? In other words, first you want Geula because that's getting Hashem close to you.
Good.
And then there's an extra point. It may even be a separate point. It's like, don't waste it and then pause and then you're not at the door and he comes to the door and you're not there anymore. It's like you did the first thing, you got him to come to the door, but then you blew it because you left. So it's almost like there's 2 parts to it. And one is the order and one is the, smicha, doing it together, close together. And I don't know how that could help, but it's too many parts to this puzzle. But
I think that's genius. That's genius because smicha gula tefillah can mean that tefillah comes first also. There's no reason that smicha gula tefillah can't mean tefillah comes first.
You're right, but and Rashi explains to us why it's not true. I hear you.
Okay,
No,
so
but
but it may
Yerushalmi
not
won't
be a
work.
stira of smichas gula tefillah by him doing it after.
If someone wanted to misread the word smooth gula too, I mean, Shema say first and Shema after. The Yerushalmi tells you not like that, but I'm not sure. Let's circle it because I think we, as you said, Baruch, it might add more confusion than help. So we're gonna.
Could you say Tadir for Rabbi Shua ben Levi?
You sure could say Tadir for Rabbi Shua ben Levi, but the problem is Shema is a deraisa.
So that doesn't work. Tadir doesn't work by deraisas versus Rabbanan.
Because first of all, Shema is also a Tadir.
No, it's 3 times during the day.
Okay, good, but it's a deraisa. Deraisa definitely weighs over a Tadir. You don't push away a deraisa for a Tadir derabanan.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true. I know it's true because I cheated. I know what the answer. I know how the Achronim answer this question, and no one. All right,
It's a
whatever.
different answer.
Yes,
So
sir.
we daven Marv before Kiddush Levana because of Tadir?
Wait, say it again. Do we daven
Don't we
Marav?
daven Marv before Kiddush Levana because of Tadir? Isn't that the svara?
Okay. Kiddush Levana is deraisa.
Thought
I
so.
don't think Kiddush Levana is deraisa. No.
It
No.
I don't think so. Not that I one second. Anybody hold it is?
No, Amar Abaya.
Yeah,
Pamachas b'chodesh.
that doesn't mean it's I to my knowledge it's derabbanan. Does anybody hold it's deraisa?
I think Jake is saying good.
I don't. All right, I don't know. Let's proceed. Let's go on.
Besides Marv also has Shema.
Okay, but my comifilgi, what is the machlok between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi? Ibai say makrai, ibai say masora. Either pasuk or svara. Ibai say masvara. If you want, I'll say it's a svara. And Rabbi Yochanan tzava geula urtanami havi. Rabbi Yochanan holds geula was also at night. But the real geula wasn't until the morning. Meaning, Paro said, "Get out at night," but they didn't actually leave until the morning. Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, "No." Since the actual leaving was only in the morning, so at night it's not a real gula, so there's nothing to celebrate. So the machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi was there gula at night, right? According to Rabbi Yochanan, the answer is yes. There was gula ma'ortan. Listen, I know you didn't actually leave, but when Paro said get out, he gave him permission to leave. That's schala of a gulta. It's the beginning of the gulta. It's enough to that we'd say there's a gula, and therefore it says Rabbi Yochanan you have to be some gula tefillah, and says Rabbi Shua ben Levi no, since you didn't actually leave, so lavi gula mas you didn't leave, so therefore it's not enough to consider a gula malisa. And I'm going to stop on this, gentleman. I'm not going to hack now on this, but I believe it is a very good question to ask. What in the world are they arguing? Is it good gula? It's not good gula. But I don't want to take answers now because you may say it's a dumb question, but I believe this is an important point. I believe.
Well, it obviously has to somehow answer because or else there's this anomalous svara X. If you don't want to have a say svara X, then this has to be the machlokas somehow.
Well, no, this machlokas only explains to us whether there is an issue of being soma gula tefillah. Now, after I answer, I have another problem. Okay, good. I got it. There's no soma gula tefillah. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, why'd you put Shmon Esrei in the wrong order? That's a different question. So, you know what I'm saying?
If you don't want to make two machlokas in, which Rabbi doesn't want to do.
I don't know answers. I don't know.
I'm not answer. I'm not saying answer. If you don't make two machlokas in, then by default you have to say that everybody agrees, if not for this, that it has to come second.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Does it make?
Well, what?
What difference does it make if there's a gula in the morning, at night, or not? You can't praise Hashem and get him to come to the door by saying good things about him, even though they didn't happen at that moment.
Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question. Now, the answer to that has to be that you have to memorialize the time, memorialize what happened. I'll prove it to you because this is a disciple's point. There's no Soma Gula Tefillah by Mincha. No one says by Mincha you have to, or by Musaf, or by Nila. It's only when there is a Geula that you say Gal Yisrael, and that it memorializes what Hashem did. It's Ma'orer, whatever, but it's only when there is a Geula in that time period. And if the machlokas is, was there a Geula then or not? But if there was no Geula, you can't in the middle of the afternoon, you can't be Gal Yisrael because there was no Geula there, so it doesn't work. Meaning this koach, it's like a certain koach in the world. And when Hashem brought the Geula, so there's a certain koach of Geula in the world, and that you could praise Hashem with it, and that is a very powerful, potent. You know
We
what?
see by the Seder also. We see by the Seder. We say the Haggadah, and then we end after Haggadah. We say, therefore, we have to say Hallel because of the Gula. It's like that's the extension of the same concept, I think. No, by the Seder.
Maybe, but again, Baruch's point is, and it's a valid point to think about. Why can't you say Gal Yisrael by Mincha? Hashem, look what you did. Hashem, you redeemed us. By the way, why can't I say it all? So the way I view it a little bit is almost like Sha'asali Neis Makom Hazeh. When you go to that place, you say Sha'asali Neis Makom Hazeh. Why this place? Why can't I remember if I'm Neis happened to be on the Catskills? So why if I'm in Brooklyn can't I say Hashem, you did a Neis? Because when you go there, there's more. You're memorializing the event. You're touching it. You're bringing something along those lines. So over here, there's a real geula in the time period. You can praise Hashem, and that's a powerful geula. If there's no geula, then it's just word. Yes, it's words. But gentlemen, I have a question that I want to ask you for the fun of it. Anybody ready for a question? Say no. If it's no, no.
Yes.
In Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi's base medrash, when they daven, first they daven Shemona Esrei, good, and then they said Shema. Did they say Berachas Kriya Shema?
It's a Mishnah which says Shnaim Lafreya, Shnaim Lafreya.
Yeah, so I guess probably Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, who's an Amora, probably can't argue with a Mishnah because he'll lose his license. Okay, good. So probably in Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi's base medrash, they said Tu Lefaneha and Tu Achareha. What's the second bracha Achareha? Or it's the first one actually. The first bracha Achareha.
Gal Yisrael.
Oh, I thought Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi said there's no gula at night.
Maybe he had a different bracha.
There's only one.
Just says two brachas. It doesn't say it has to be Gal Yisrael.
Yeah, but that's the bracha we know of. We don't have any other bracha. There's Gal Yisrael and Shema Yisrael La'ad. Those are the two brachas. And so if we're saying this beautiful idea that you have to actually have a gula, and if you don't have a gula, you can't praise Hashem. Well, what did the man say? The man said the words Gal Yisrael. So what do you mean you can't do it? He didn't say.
No, I thought he's just saying don't connect them. He's not saying you can't say Gal Yisrael. He's saying don't put it next to tefillah.
Why don't? Why don't? Surely you should. No reason not.
Well, we didn't answer why he holds it's not a what's his machlokas. It would be Tola and what his machlokas is at night.
But
whatever answer to that question will answer this question.
Did Rabbi Shimon Levi say there was no gula at night?
I don't know if it's no gula or it's a small gula or it's not worth the gula.
It's not enough to memorialize, not enough to get Hashem, Makalis Hashem with, right? It won't have that.
It's not that it's not enough. It's fine,
what?
whatever. We didn't answer the question, so I don't know what I mean.
Rabbi,
but I don't know if it's
Shimon
not enough.
Levi didn't hold like the Chachamim that argue with Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Maybe he didn't hold there was Mitzrayim, Zechiris Mitzrayim at night at all.
And let's say you were right. Therefore, what?
So I don't know what was the Chachamim's Shema like that night.
Did they say Gal Yisrael or not in Rabbi Shimon Levi's base medrash?
Maybe the Chachamim didn't do it because they didn't hold the Yisrael B'Leilas.
Rabbi Shimon Levi can't argue with a Mishnah. He would lose his license. They throw him out of the base medrash.
So I'm asking, what did the Chachamim do? Chachamim argued with Elazar ben Azariah. What did they do? They had some nusach.
They did. I tell you what they did. They did Gal Yisrael like every other Orthodox Jew did. They did exactly what everybody does.
They just skipped the third paragraph of Shema?
Maybe there wasn't. They probably didn't have a takana of saying it at night. Maybe, I don't know. But they said the bracha of Gal Yisrael like every other Orthodox Jew said. And were Tanaim, so they could theoretically argue with the Shnaim Lafra, Shnaim Lachra. Maybe, but I don't think they did. But whatever the case, be it as it may, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi can't argue with a Mishnah that we possibly.
I hear Rabbi's point. Rabbi's point is if they're going to say Gal Yisrael later anyway, what do you lose by saying it beforehand if you're going to say it later in the end afterwards?
And what are you saying it for? According to Rabbi, there's no Yeshua at night. There's no Geula at night. All right, good.
But can you explain that question? That doesn't really make so much sense. He's not saying the Geula was at night, and therefore we're saying Geula now. That only Svar applies when you want to change the world and do so much Geula Tefillah. That's an iyun on how strong the Geula was, and we never really answered what his machlokas was. But let's just say we knew the answer to that question. He's not saying you can't mention Geula. Of course you can mention Geula. Thank Hashem at 24/7 for the Geula that he's done for us. But don't be so mechil tefillah. That's it.
In Mincha, is there a bracha Gal Yisrael?
There used to be. No, there's not.
No, there never was.
No, Shachris and Ma'ariv, yeah.
Oh, why is that?
Because we hold so much Geula by Shachris and Ma'ariv.
But no, but according to Rabbi Shimon Levi, why is there?
So the Gal Yisrael is strictly just a remembrance because you need brachos before Kriyash Shema and after. And once we're making brachos, this is the one we instituted. But it has nothing to do with Geula L'Tfila. It has zero to do with that.
Forget Gula too, but is it a bracha like Gal Yisrael? Like
It's
for instance,
exactly a bracha of Gal Yisrael. Exactly a bracha of Gal Yisrael.
So I want to ask you a question. Didn't Rabbi Shimon Levi tell us there was no Geula at night?
Well, if Mincha had Shema and two brachos, he would also, and there were Gal Yisrael, he would say that's 100% fine also. Just do that after Mincha, don't do it before. That's exactly what he would say. If Shema looked like Ma'ariv, he would have no problem with it. He would just have it after.
If you understand what you're saying, you're definitely alone in this because I don't understand what you're saying.
Because if Rabbi Ben Levi doesn't hold like a chum, he holds like Rabbi Mazari that there is Zechiras Mitzrayim at nights.
Okay, I don't know about that, Machlokas. I'm all I'm saying is just within himself. I'm not sure Rebbe's so bothered by. He never said anything about not being allowed to say Gal Yisrael. He didn't shoot people that said that. He just said, don't. If anything, it almost sounds like he's anti Somech Gula Tefillah for Ma'ariv. It sounds like he specifically doesn't want you to do it. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Now, have we heard in the Gemara and Yerushalmi any reason the Dafka not to? Chas v'shalom, don't do it. It's a bad thing.
No, but it almost sounds like he's saying that.
Yeah, but we don't see any Gemara. We don't see a logic to that. We don't see any Yerushalmi. We don't see any...
That's why I didn't say that. I'm just saying it almost. So it sounds like he has no problem doing it. Just don't connect it. Let's feel it.
Anyway, so my question, for what it's worth, is that according to Rabbi Shimon Levi, who says there's no Geula at night, why in the world do you say Gal Yisrael when there's no Geula to celebrate, no Geula to commemorate, no Geula to make a bracha about? Why say a bracha when there's nothing to commemorate? It's wrong to do it.
If you say the third parak of Shema, I think along the lines of what Elton's saying, if you say the third parak of Shema, which let's say he goes with mainstream, he's Rabbi Ben Azariah, he says you do say Zechiras Mitzrayim at night, even though there is no. So this is connected to Zechiras Mitzrayim. Not als geula be'etzem to connect to Shemona Esrei, but als this is the
geula legabe this, but not geula legabe that. Geula means
it's the bracha after Shema.
But what is it doing there?
It's connected to Zechiras Mitzrayim. There is an meaning of Zechiras Mitzrayim at night.
Wait. Zechiras Mitzrayim means God, you took us out of Egypt. Gal Yisrael means Hashem, you're our Redeemer. It's a thanksgiving bracha. It's a bracha of Hodah. Oops, I don't say too much. Let's go on by that before I talk too much. Let's go on. All right. If you want, I can forget. We could say it from a drasha. What's a drasha? You guys know this. I want to start Tosas because we're gonna not get nowhere. Actually, we got one more piece of Gemara. Very important to know. But this, you know, right? The shkiva, right? It says and they're just it's machlokas how you learn this, right? Either you learn. Rabbi Yochanan holds makish kiva l'kima makima kriya shema v'aka tefillah. When you get up in the morning, what do? You say shema and then you say tefillah. So to shkiva, you say kriya shema first and then tefillah. Rabbi Shimon Levi learns the other way. Hekesh tzitza shkiva l'kima makima kriya shema samach l'mitaso shkinami kriya samach l'mitaso. All right, let's skip this because it's all right. Now one more step in the Gemara. Masim Ma'barei Ravina, the son of Ravina asked. Be'erev mavar shtayim lefanei shtayim lachareh, as Ben Pesach well pointed out, there's a Mishnah that tells us at night you make two brachas before Shema, and you make two brachas after Shema. Vi amr by lismach, if Rabbi Yochanan is right, after you samach gula tefillah, halo kasamech, you weren't samach gula tefillah, by the main hashkivenu. You're saying hashkivenu, and that's a hefsek. Why? Because let's just see. Here you have Shema, Emes V'Muna, and here's Ashkivenu. Now, Emes V'Muna is the Gal Yisrael bracha. It's a beautiful bracha, and it ends beautifully with the words, Gal Yisrael, Hashem, you are Redeemer. You redeemed us from Egypt. Okay, this is a bracha thanking God for what He did. Then we have this interesting bracha called Hashkivenu. Hashem lies down in peace. Let us stand up in peace. This is like a mapil, basically, right? First name Sukkot Shemecha, second name Eitzah Tova. Protect us from Oyev Cherev Derev, Rav, right? Protects all these things. Hashem Shomer Amo Yisrael Ad. Hashem, you guard Yisrael for eternity, forever. This is a wonderful bracha, wonderful mapil kind of bracha, but it sure is a major interruption between Gal Yisrael over here and Shemona Esrei. So it says the son of Ravina, if Rabbi Yochanan is right, that you have to do some Gula Tefillah. I had to explain two brachas. The second bracha at night is Ashkivenu, doesn't belong in it. It's an interruption, if ever I've heard an interruption.
What about Kaddish? Is that also an interruption?
It sure is an interruption.
Why doesn't he ask Kaddish?
Why didn't he ask Kaddish?
They may have not said Kaddish then.
Does anybody know the answer to that question?
Gotta wait for Tosus.
Thank you. Tosis does is bothered by that question, right? And we're going to pilpul with that issue very, very long and hard if we ever get there. But we're going to get there, Mr. Shem. Okay. Now, Amri, so they answer this question by saying no. Even the Tiknu Rabban Ashkivenu, since Chazal set up this brach of Ashkivenu, it wasn't haphazard, but Chazal said you have to. Kegula Arichta Damya, because Chazal Masak in it, it's like a Gula Arichta. Because if you don't say this, Shachris Echim Matzi Samech, Hagi Samech Shachris, Amar Rabbi Yochanan B'Tchila Omei, Hashem Shal Like Tiftach, Savomei Yeratzani Refi. If you don't say that this idea that when Chazal put it, it's like a Gula Arichta, how do you explain Shachris? And don't we know that Rabbi Yochanan tells us before you daven Shachris, you say the words Hashem Shal Like Tiftach, right? And that's clearly an interruption because you said Baruch Hashem Gal Yisrael, and then before you start Shemona Esrei, you said Hashem Svasai Tiftach. That's an interruption. Elamai, how do you answer Hashem Svasai Tiftach? Elasim came the Tikkun Rabban Lameim Hashem Svasai Tiftach. Since Chazal said they made a takana that you should say these words, Kitfila Richter Dami. It's like a Tfila Richter. Alchanami, so too came the Tikkun Rabban Lameim Hashkivenu. Since Chazal said to say Hashkivenu Kugula Richter Dami. It's like a Gula Richter, and is what we call no soap radio.
Did you ever hear just Agav this just because it's an amazing story?
I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's Hashem Svasai Tiftach.
Rabbi, why no soap radio? What's Rabbi about it?
Why no soap radio?
Because it's an answer.
Exactly. Why not?
No, I know what that means.
Shall say why not? Because why didn't answer? Because why?
It's a non-answer. It has nothing to do with Shmon Esrei or Gula. Like it's not.
It's not a Gula Ruch at all. Meaning Hashem Svasai Tiftach. You could argue is Hashem open my mouth? That's like a tefillah. So Chazal added it to the Shmon Esrei, and so it makes it a tefillah richt. It's like beginning of tefillah. Okay, I can hear that, but you can't say. Let's say there's bikurim, right? Chazal was talking bikurim, so it makes it like a Gula Richta. You can't take something that's not a Gula and make it a Gula because Chazal put it in there. Must be it's Gula Richta. What are you talking? How does that change what it's saying? The words are nothing to do with Gula. The words are mapil. Well, because
so you're not saying that if it's true, it doesn't make sense. You're saying why is that true? Meaning, I thought no soap radio means like, well, what does that have to do with what you're saying? Meaning, you're saying you had a problem.
I don't know what no soap radio means. What is that?
You're lying. That's what you're saying. Meaning, it's not true. It's not a Gula Richta. Don't tell me it is.
Right. Again, listen to the answer. Because Chazal put it in, that makes a Gula Richta. Meaning, that's you're right. It's not a Gula Richta. It has nothing to do with it. But because Chazal put it in, that makes a Gula Richta. Could you explain the words to me? Meaning, Hashem Svasai Tiftach, I get it. It wasn't part of the Amidah. But Chazal were the ones who wrote the Amidah. And since they said Hashem Svasai Tiftach, you have to say, and it is a tefillah. Hashem open my. It's a so you could say it's a tefillah richt. It's part of Shemona Esrei. I hear that, very good svara. But you can't tell me again. It's not a Hashkivenu is not a gula at all. But because Chazal put it in, it's a gula arichta. What does that mean? It's not a gula arichta. No, but Chazal put it in. It is, sir. With all due respect, it's not.
So you're asking what's the svara that what's this idea that because Chazal is misaking something in davening that it's considered a gula? That's what you're asking.
Yeah, because
okay, fine. I was trying to figure out the no soap radio.
Bracha Gal Yisrael, there are aspects that are not related to gula, right?
Gal Yisrael, there are aspects not related.
In the bracha of Gal Yisrael, in that bracha, not every word of that bracha is related to gula.
What has got not to do with gula?
Not every single word is related to gula. It deals with lots of things in the bracha.
Okay, so Minyan Pesach, can we put Bikurim in and say because Chazal put it in, that makes it a Gula Richta? Well, let's say Chazal put in Ksiras Omer. Because Chazal put in Ksiras Omer, it makes it a Gula Richta.
Yeah, whatever Chazal put in means that those two brachas have Gula. Those two brachas contain within them Gula.
Good. If you're happy with that answer, maybe. Chazal could put in math equations and it makes it a Gula Richta because Chazal put it in. Maybe I don't hear it so good. Maybe I don't hear it so good, but whatever. All right, but let's proceed. We got to start Tosas because anyway. Question number 2, we got why are they arguing about. Question number 3 is how is this considered part of the Gula? It makes it like a gula. What does that mean? Since Chazal stuffed it in, they mushed it in. Oh, that makes it a gula rechta. Doesn't help me understand. What the and question number 4 over here. Why is this question number 4? Why did Shmon Esrei come first? And I thought it was question 1. Wasn't that question 1? 1 second. Did I cheat and make up more questions that don't? 1 second. Question 1 is. Oh yeah, because I have it as a different question really, because Rabbi Shimon Levi some gula tefillah, because all right, because yeah, I know what I meant, because meaning that question, all Rabbi Yochanan proved was it's not a proof to Rabbi Yochanan. That was the other point. It's not a proof to Rabbi Yochanan. Really, I'm not saying this because why? Because all it proves is that Shema comes first, but it doesn't prove to me some gula tefillah. I mean, let's say Binyan Pesach's right. There's some ex svara. Betzem has a good svara why Shmon Esrei should come first. Okay. Now I see from the Brisa that Rabbi Shimon Levi is wrong. Rabbi Yochanan's that Shema comes first. But how do I see some gula tefillah from there? All right, you hear what I'm saying?
Right. It only proves him over Shubin Levi, but doesn't prove the point is gula tefillah.
Exactly. All right, let's get started, Tulsa, because we got to get started. We're never going to get started. Okay. Dam Rabbi Yochanan Nezu ben Olam Haba v'chulu. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Who's ben Olam Haba?" Good. Some gula tefillah. One who's some gula tefillah. Va'anu says Tosas. What about us? Shomrim Yiru einenu upsukim acherim achshivenu. What about us? Forget Ashkivenu. The Gemara says Ashkivenu is gula richta, but we look what we had over here. Baruch Hashem l'olam amen amen. Baruch Hashem tzin halukah. Baruch Hashem l'kim l'keis v'az. Baruch Hashem God. These are wonderful psukim. Vayuplo b'neiim v'yom Hashem l'kim. Wonderful psukim, but it ain't got nothing to do with gula, right? Meaning, the Gemara answered Ashkivenu since Chazal put it in, it makes it a gula richta. But how do you explain what we do? We got these psukim in there, these 18 psukim that have nothing to do with gula at all. That surely is a hefsek.
Isn't that where the Vilna Gaon takes them out?
Maybe, I don't know.
That's when Eretz Yisrael they don't say it.
One second. Can we learn, please? I'm just trying to learn Tosas. And Tosas says, right, it's this question. How do we I don't understand, says Tosas. We make a big hefsek. The Gemara answered Ashkivenu Chazal put in, so it's a gula richta. But we say all these psukim that have no connection whatsoever to do with Gal Yisrael. How do we explain them? Says Tosas answer, Nira, Ho v'tignu l'Rabbanan. Since the Rabbanan was saking how like a gula richta, tignu l'mas b'tokah. Get the joke? Since the later rabbis put it in, it's like a gula richta. Tignu l'mas b'tokah kispal chaveru gamhu. Well, that means so. And basically, the reason why Baruch Hashem Le'olam was put in was because the base of measures was in the field, and they were afraid of basically when it got night and you had to walk home alone. There were marauders, there were highway robbers, and so they didn't want to walk home alone. So basically, there are two machlokas showing them exactly what happened. The way Tosas learns it is that they put in these psukim to slow everyone down, so that if a guy came late for Mariv, he'll be able to catch up, and he'll finish his Shmon Esrei along with everybody else. So they'll leave as a tzibur, so no man's going to walk alone. If they didn't have these brachas, a guy might come like to Mariv, he starts Shmon Esrei long after everyone starts Shmon Esrei. Everyone finishes Shmon Esrei, they all leave. He's the last one left, and he walks home alone, and gets killed, whatever. So therefore, they put in these extra psukim. The rabbis put in these extra psukim so that they all daven together. I guess meaning if you come late, maybe you skip these psukim, I say them real quick or something. But the point is, his friend also and no one would leave until everyone finished their Shmon Esrei. Okay, so this is another no soap radio, but probably worse.
If anything, if he's going to shtup it into one, shouldn't it be the tefillah richta, not gula?
I would agree wholeheartedly, because as a matter of fact, doesn't Tosas say that next line?
Right.
Yeah, meaning here he's saying it's a gula arichta, right? Now again, what this has to do with gula, I don't have a clue. But because the rabbis put it in, it makes a gula arichta. But then watch this next step, Tosas says. The gam yesh some sukim yudches azkaras, and the sukim 18 azkaras, mention as names of Hashem, mention Hashem. Can I get yudches brachos? Can I get the 18 brachos, the Shmon Esrei? Va'agav shetiknu lomo psukim tiknu lomo chasim shiroi nenu. Now what? Now what? So now he's saying it's a tefillah rechta in these 18 psukim, 18 names of Hashem. That's connected the 18 brachas Shemona Esrei. So I guess now he's saying it's a tefillah rechta, but I thought it was a gula rechta. Now he's changing his mind. Huh?
Also, what's Tosas Havas? Once the Gemara is willing to say no, so radio for Ashkevenu, why not say it for Baruch Hashem Olam also?
Well, first of all, it was put in by much later rabbis, and second of all, it's much harder to call it a gula rechta, because Ashkevenu maybe you could argue a little bit, but these psukim like Yichvar Hashem leOlam, Yismach Hashem b'Masav, okay, nice ideas. What does that have to do with gula? Let's say I say Hashem created the sun. Okay, it's a great Shevach to Hashem, but it doesn't do with gula. Hashem made the moon, Hashem made earth. Hashem, okay, it's great. It's a great Shevach to Hashem, but it's nothing to do with gula. Gula means redeem. Hashem saved us. Hashem, we were in Mitzrayim, by the sun, we were in Mitzrayim. Hashem, pity son, or you opposed us, you redeemed us, you took us out.
Ashkevenu is any better?
Not much better, but certainly a little better. This is much worse.
But Haser Malenu Derav.
That's in the future.
Protect us, no?
That's not what Hashem did. I'm asking Hashem to do it in the future.
Are you saying, but it's the same idea of Geula, meaning save me.
I memorialize the fact that Hashem, that you saved me.
Right.
Remember the fact that Hashem, you didn't. It's like I make a bracha, Baruch Shasali Neis Makam Hazeh. So that's a Neis Shasali. So and you'll do. I ask you to do in the future. That's also.
It's about Geula. Protect me. I mean, save me from bad.
It sounds like Tosfos is saying that there's a bridge, the Gula Tzvila bridge, and therefore either we can tack it onto the Gula part, however we're going to do that, or we tack it onto the Shema Esrei part, like we would do Hashem Shasai Tiftach, and it serves one or the other function. And Tosfos is suggesting reasons why it could be either one or the other, and therefore you still have a smicha of a Gula Tzvila. It's either part of the Tzvila or it's part of the Gula, one or the other.
All right, maybe we'll see. Maybe Tosfos is flipping. Meaning in this line of Tosfos, this line of Tosfos over here, he says it's Gula Richta, and then he changes his mind and says no, it's a Shmona Esrei, it's part of Shmona Esrei, so it's a Tefillah Richta. Now, one thing Binyamin Pesach would have on his side is then we'd understand why Tosfos then has this kasha of Yiroi Nenu, meaning if I said it's part of Shmona Esrei, then look at these words. What in the world does that have to do with Shmona Esrei? Why? Again, if he's over here saying these are 18 names of Hashem in the Psukim, and those are negative 18 brachas, Shmona Esrei, meaning to say it's a Tefillah Arichta, it's not a Gula Arichta, but it's a Tefillah Arichta. So then, right? Now it tells us a kasha. Va'agav shetiknu lomar as psukim. And once they're masakin to say these psukim, tiknu lomar chasim shiroi necha. They also masakin yiroi necha. It seems that it tells the original answer he didn't have this problem. It's only in this answer that he has a problem, right? Meaning originally here Tosfos answered it's a gula richta, and he wasn't bothered, and that's it, done. But now when
then it's another bracha. It's another bracha, just like Ashkevenu is another bracha. This is also another bracha.
But once Tosfos says it's part of Shmona Esrei, and then he's bothered by this question. I think things are confusing enough for us to stop. Tell me you.
Yeah.
It's good news for the Jews and bad news for the Jews.
So you have to end with suspense.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tosfos is just saying that since the rabbis added them on, so therefore they have a reason why they want this gula to get closer to tefillah. So practically they need to make all these brachos, even though like the words you're saying have no sheikhs, but it's just a way to connect them or to get things working properly, and that's why it's called gula. Is that legal?
It doesn't make sense. I wouldn't say it as a svara. Let's imagine Tosfos had Talmidim. And he came to Shiur and he said that as a teretz. What do you think his Talmidim would say?
That sounds like something Rashi would say.
I imagine they would have a lot to say because Rabbi Tosus, with all the Rabbi Tom, I guess it's Tom, so it's Rabbi Tom, with all due respect, what are you saying? It's not a gul arichta. It just isn't. I want it to be, but it isn't. Well, because the rabbis put it in, it makes it. Yeah, but you make a piece of Play-Doh into a horse. You make a horse into.
They set up the way to do this geula because they want to get it closer to tefillah. So it's all like in the process of getting there. I mean, I'm not so clear on that, but it sounds. I don't know. It doesn't sound right.
You're pulling a banana. That's a structure. I got the structure, so you can go.
No, it's more than a structure. It's a teretz too. Meaning because they need to do it because whatever. As far as they want to make sure they get together at the davening. That's the svara. Now, once they do that, the rabbis are now changing the way to put the gula, and they're making it longer, and they're adding this into it just for practical purposes.
So, Shlomo, I have a better idea. The rabbi should have dropped the bracha. Don't put it in.
They need it. They need it.
What do you need it for? What do you need it for? Don't.
Tosfos gives you the reason why.
No, wait. Show me hashkivenu for sure. Hashkivenu, you don't need it. Why would the rabbis don't put it in? Makes it a gula richta, but don't. Why? Because they wanted to put it in. But why they want to put it in? That makes a hefsek between. That was the son of Ravina. Its question was, and that it's a hefsek. Don't put in hashkivenu. It's a hefsek. The answer is because Chazal put it in. It makes a gula richta. But why they put it in? It makes a hefsek.
We ask why it didn't switch the order. Could that be a question? Would that be a question? Why they didn't put Gal Yisrael second if they had to save Hashkevenu?
It's a decent question, but I think the answer is because you say Gal Yisrael after Ani Hashem Elokechem. It's like a.
It's Emes V'Emuna.
Yeah, what I mean to say is first we say Hashem, the mitzvah of Hashem, you took us out of Mitzrayim, and now once we said that we remembered that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, now thank you Hashem for Geula. I mean, I remember. So it should be
to Mitzrayim.
Right, it should be right then because
that itself supports what El Natan was saying before, as far as when you're saying Zechiras Mitzrayim, you say this bracha. So even according to Shiur ben Levi, if you don't say it before Shemon Esrei, it still would make sense that you say it when you say Shema.
Right. The problem is, according to Shiur ben Levi, there's no according to Rabbi Yochanan, after you thank Hashem for taking us out of Mitzrayim, there's a geula, a redemption. We were redeemed. We were freed. There's a celebration. So you say Gal Yisrael, but according to Shimon Levi, there is no Gal Yisrael. There's no celebration. There's nothing. It's there's a mitzvah to remember Mitzrayim, but it wasn't at night that Hashem took us out. And why Hashem gives us a mitzvah? Because there's a munah. You should work on your munah twice a day. But there was no gula at night. So no gula at night. Why say Gal Yisrael? Hashem, you redeemed us. No, you didn't. It's not true. Thank you, Hashem, for redeeming us. It's not true. Hashem, you didn't redeem us.
It's true that he did it. It's just not true at night.
So do it at mincha then. So say it at mincha. Say it Musaf, say it Nila.
So that's what Al-Tan explained. It's what you say when you say Shema. We only have a mitzvah to say Shema in the morning, the evening.
According to Rabbi Yochanan, it makes sense because there's a celebration. Hashem, you go Allah. So once I mentioned here, Hashem Elokechem, it makes sense the gula. But according to Rabbi Shimon Levi, there was no gula. So Hashem Elokechem, I say to remember the fact that Hashem took me out and Mitzrayim, even though it wasn't at night, but Hashem took us out. We say twice a day for Emunah. Now don't say Gal Yisrael because there's no redemption then. It wasn't a time of redemption. All right. The thing about it, I think it's.
Did Rebbe hear that there's the reporter was asking the head of ministry of the Israeli Defense Service, the spokesperson, a question, and the guy said Hashem. He said the words Shem Hashem Slasai Tiftach Bufi Yagid Tilasecha, and they said, "What are you saying?" He said, I'm asking God that I answer your question properly."
Wow.
This was a reporter. This was happened with a reporter. A U.S. reporter asked the guy who was the spokesperson for the Israeli army, and the guy was a tough question. He said the words Hashem Svasai Tiftach, and then translated what he was saying. I'm asking God to put the right words in my mouth.
Send me a clip.
I have to get a hold of it. I heard it in Misa. I don't have it. I haven't seen the clip.
If you can get a hold of it,
send it. Isn't that unbelievable, Misa?
It is unbelievable. It is. You see the things coming out. I said the Golani Brigade. You guys see that? The Givati Brigade. I'll put that on. I'm going to put this on the Sugyah WhatsApp because it's worth seeing. I'll put it on when you see the Givati Brigade preparing to go into battle. It's Mamish Mashiach Satan. All right, let's leave this here. It's confusing enough, and we'll pick up later Thursday. Right. Hopefully, we'll get a little more clarity. Hopefully, or more confusion. Anyway, all right, we'll see you in the session. Good night.